Well, although the 2-year-olds are excelling, our 3-year-olds this week were a tiny bit flat, weren't they? Aunt Lily did not have a great mile this week. Jason thought he was drawing her blood. He thought maybe she tied up and she was horsing a little bit. You know, she's a funny filly. When she's on, she's really nice to watch. And when she's off, she looks like she's on until she isn't. And she's tough in that regard. You know, for her to falter the way she did. And now maybe we're going to find something in her blood. Maybe she did tie up. Maybe her liver was high. Maybe there's something like that. But if there isn't, it's just a little frustrating to see her go out and put on a ho-hum performance. Now, that quick half did not help her or Freedom Hill. You know, they were both raced hard. Not to say that I wouldn't have done the same thing, but when you go 27.55 before and then falter the way you did, I'm left wondering, is there something wrong? It's not lameness, and she looks like $1 million. You know, I saw her in the barn today when I walked through. She looked great. But obviously the race, her last race, did not equal what I was looking at in the stall. So we'll find out what's up with her. I'm sure it was nothing serious. I jumped right over Arrowhead Hanover. Arrowhead Hanover raced today, raced great. I was really torn and a little angry that we were put in that position. Apparently, I actually saw the race secretary and said, when was the decision made to change that? He said, months ago that was sent out. So I must have missed that memo. On the staking, if you go on Arrowhead Hanover staking guide, it says Saturday. Next Saturday is the Courier and Ives. Well, they don't race there next Saturday. They pushed it back to Thursday, which normally, who cares, not a big deal. But it is a big deal when he's already entered on Saturday. So he's asked to come around on a 5-day turnaround. He was good today. We're going to make a few more little changes next week. Add some borium to his front shoes, take his head pull off. I don't think he needs it anymore. Work on some minor airway stuff, just some minor mucus, no blood, no nothing. So some things to work on for Arrowhead Hanover as he heads into the Courier and Ives. I just wish that we had an opportunity to plan it a little better. And I guess it wasn't. It turns out it wasn't the racetrack's fault. That maybe I just missed that email. But Friday back or Saturday back, Thursday, not ideal, but I'm sure he'll bounce out and be just fine. Blue Ventura. I was a little angry the other night when he raced, but then upon reflection, by the time I even got back to the barn, jogging and back to the barn, I had to just take a moment and say, doesn't really race that poorly that often, this horse. He's a pretty solid competitor almost every race. So don't get too worked up about Blue Ventura throwing in a stinker. Captain Incredible, 51 flat, 27-3 on the end of it. Was he good? Yes. Could he be better? Yes, I think he can. So we're going to continue to inch towards that point. I'm going to spend the rest of the weekend wondering, thinking about, should we race him again next week or give him a week off? The Adios is on the 19th, which is the day after I get back from Ollie's Cooperstown trip. So we'll see. We'll see what's what with Captain Incredible this week. Chicago Hall, he's in with Gaslight this week. I was surprised. Chicago Hall and Gaslight getting together. Very short field for the gold. It's going for 140,000. They got them both at 10-1. I think Chicago Hall for sure right now is as good as almost any colt in the division. Gaslight Hall, taking away his last start, I think he's a competitor. He was second in the last gold, obviously, but he's going to have to do some major. He's going to have to have some major improves and upgrades this week to compete with those horses. Foxy Seaside was good last night, 52 and a piece, 27-2, come from 7th to do it, finished 4th. Looked very, very good. Freedom Hill again, much along the same lines as Lily, a little flat, kind of fizzled out, but that's not shocking with her, right? Nice filly. She'll take a good mark. She already has, but she'll take another good mark. She just needs to do more work, more heavy lifting from Freedom Hill. The car is really concerned about that car. Gorgeous Package, race good. You just can't two-move her. The one thing that her last 2 starts has allowed me to see is that we can put her in that condition claimer. It takes like 50,000. You want to fill your boots. I think she's a really nice filly, but I think we should spend the next 3, 4, 5 weeks in between Buckeyes racing against horses we're supposed to beat, not horses we would like to catch up to. Grand Slam Dio is racing Monday, coming in off 3 lifetime marks in a row. No, that's not true. She went 56 and 1. I think the second was slower than 55 and 1 and 2. She raced great in her last 3 regardless, and I'm excited to drive her. I wish I wasn't leaving from post 7, but nevertheless excited to drive her. Gymboree is going to train on Monday and then be entered for next weekend, I believe is the plan from Jason. We just gave her a week off to freshen her. I sat behind her, and I could tell she was just flat. She just had no pop to her, no life to her. So we'll see how she is starting on Monday. Manhattan Money, I am torn. You know, I made a very good argument of case for him to move into the condition claimer at Northfield Park, where he'd be 8 to 5, 6 to 5, 3 to 5 every week, rather than chasing horses in the non-winners at 3. But then he went out and finished second in 55 and 2, and I had to think to myself, geez, you know, maybe he does belong in this class. He's another one I'm going to spend the weekend thinking about. A lot of thought will go on this weekend. Melisandre, third, should have won. Yes, she should have won, but she finished third and raced good. We're going to move to belly band hobbles with her next week, take the weight off of her up front, and see how she trots. Memento Mori racing for 100,000 plus Wednesday at Wednesday at Buffalo. Now I can't go. It appears that my brother Mark can't go. He injured himself the other day, hurt his wrist, but the youngest McDonald may be able to make it over, as long as it doesn't affect his golf game too much. Hopefully he can race go over and drive Maury in the, you know, he's mere 2.5 hours away from $100,000 race, and don't kid yourself. That will be the great equalizer. Maury will get around Buffalo very, very good. Oh, we already got Nassau in here. Nassau's papers have been drawn. He'll be able to come over here for next weekend. This is a horse that I think was an easy purchase. Somebody said to me, well, it looked like you were kind of helping your buddy Steve out. Really? Oh, I see. Well, he fits in a class. He's going to be 2 to 5 his next 2 starts, racing for, I believe, 10-4, both starts. And then we can put him in the class above that where he also will do. So I don't really... I understand when people look at it, but yes, I went to 28 on Steve's horse. He went to 29.4. He wanted to buy the horse back because he wanted 30. I talked to him about the horse and decided, fine, that seems fair. I mean, anything less than 38 to 40 would still be a seller's price. I was just looking to take part in some thievery. That's all. Like at 28, it was a huge buyer's price. Anywhere over the next 10 grand would be any measure of a seller's price. I didn't have a problem buying the horse, and quite frankly, as I said, everybody leave those shares up. It doesn't mean nothing to me. Come Monday at noon, every single share that is left will be mine, and I have certainly no problem doing that with respect to that 3-year-old propulsion colt. Oh, he'll know. Quite the opposite. She's in Scioto. We're gonna race her 1 start down there. If she can't do, I told Stacy, just do your best to put her in where you think she can win. And if she comes out at long odds and doesn't do well, then we're probably going to move on from he'll know. Resolve Indeed, similar situation, but there are classes for her in Ontario. She's racing Monday, I think, in the grassroots, if I'm not mistaken. We'll try her in there. She's right on the cusp of being able to do, just not quite able to break through. So we'll see how that plays out over the next little bit. Rose Run AJ, he's another horse, not long for the stable. You know, and this has been ongoing for a while. I told you, when you have horses that don't really put the true effort into their work, eventually it shines through, right? And by shines through, I mean it just, you get to see them for what they are. And just a fast horse that could have been, might have been, isn't. And we'll see how he does in Bangor today. Woodmere Betcha will race this week. I'm not sure where though. Somewhere in the Maritimes she will race. And those are all the 3-year-olds. So those are your 3-year-olds. I'm going to run through the racehorses really quick. There's even less of them. Obviously, we're all focused on the 2-year-olds. Some of the 3-year-olds that are racing, the Courier Knives coming up, the Adios in the not too distant future. I'm still getting emails, you know, every couple of weeks. Captain Incredible was beat 2 weeks ago. You know, oh, I don't know if he's going to be able to. I don't know if he's as good as you think he is. Then he goes out in 51 and there's crickets. No emails from anybody. And then he goes out and gets beat by a horse that is racing in the Sire Stakes all year long, has raced against the likes of Blueprint and all those good horses. He beats us, not surprisingly. I tell you that I believe the colt can be a little bit better. Oh, maybe I don't think he can do. I don't know if he can do. I have no idea if he can do or he can't do. But he is on a path where he's going to get a chance. Does he need to go a little bit faster? Yeah. Needs to find about 8 lengths. for him to be competitive. That's assuming that Blueprint doesn't end up at that the Adios, which we know he's going to. He's just a horse trying to get somewhere, and I'm trying my best to help him get there. That's the easiest way to put the entire situation with respect to Captain Incredible. Nice colt, wants to be a really nice colt. I'm trying my best to help him get there. How did I get to Captain Incredible? This we were just talking about the 3-year-olds, weren't we? Mm-hmm. Arrowhead Hanover for the Courier Knives next week. Another horse, very similar in the well, not similar in the expectations or the cost of him, but very similar where we're trying to get him to a place where he can consistently race at the top level of 3-year-old trotting division, and he's going to be 8, 10, 12 to 1 every time he swings in behind the gate. Courier Knives next week, unless he catches a truly soft division, which is highly unlikely, you're going to see him probably be 6, 8, 10 to 1. But that's him, right? That doesn't mean he can't do. It just means he's going to need he's going to need a little help to get it done, and it's up to us to help him with that. That's a couple of 3-year-olds. We still have lots more. Chicago Hall, Gaslight Hall, tons of horses. Grand Slam Deal. There's some horses that are really, really nice 3-year-olds, quality 3-year-olds. But I think the bulk of our talent right now in our burn, I'm happy to report, is sitting in the rookie division. So we'll see how they fan out, how they play. Everything plays out with them next week. It all starts in Kentucky on Monday. Take care. We'll talk to you back in a minute with your racehorses.